Bobbi, and this is Abby, and
Hi.
we are filling you up with hope.
Yes.
And today we're in Proverbs 12.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. It's our 12th week of doing it. We only have 20 more.
I know. I know, but some of the Proverbs, there's there's one that's my favorite. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. We'll
Towards
see if
the
it's the same.
Yeah.
As,
I like it so much that I actually quoted it in my notes here.
Which one? Which one
Proverbs
is it?
27. Proverbs 27.
Oh,
19.
no. Nope. No. I put a star next to 25.
Oh, okay.
But no, I didn't even write down 27.
Well, it's Proverbs 27, not 12. I just mentioned, I was
okay.
this kind of reminds me of this. There's a lot of them.
We have a cute visitor.
Yes.
Hi, Alex.
Hi, Alex. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
So now I understand. You mean the chapter?
Yes, Proverbs 27:19.
Oh, okay.
I think it is. Proverbs.
Okay.
Yeah, 27:19. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
But
we'll
anyway.
find out about that in how many weeks?
Yeah, no kidding. 15.
You have to tune in
Yeah.
to many more.
15 more weeks.
Look at our audience. We have
yeah.
a
This
little
is,
creepy.
we're at Abby's house,
Yeah.
and the backyard is just beautiful. But her house is right here, and the doors and the dogs are sitting right there watching us. Her dogs. All right. So where do we want to start?
Well, so what we normally do is we pray about it and we write about the verses that stand out to us, right? And
right.
Even starting one even stood out to me. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but he who hates reproof is stupid.
I was like, man, does my translation just say stupid? But no, a lot of the translations say stupid.
Yeah. Mine does too.
Yeah.
The ESV.
Yeah. So what did you get out of that?
Well, I like we've talked about in Proverbs, we have to be open to correction.
Right.
Which is hard because a lot of us are insecure, me, and we can feel attacked. I mean, it should be done in a kind way, and then I don't think I would feel that way. But none of us are perfect, so of course we're all gonna need correction,
right,
at times.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I wrote humbleness and a willing to be taught. And then I underlined stupid and I put despised, annoying, and self-righteous. Because I was just like, wow, really? But that makes sense. I mean, have you ever met somebody that will not take any kind of constructive criticism at all? And it's annoying and they're so self-righteous.
Yeah. It's like a personality disorder.
Right.
It's like narcissistic to not be able to look at yourself.
Right.
We have to be able to look at ourselves and because we all have things that we need to change.
Yeah, it's a sign of maturity, I think.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh, yeah. That's true. I had 3 next. Did you have anything?
I have all of them.
Oh, you
so,
have all
go
of them.
ahead and 3.
No, what did you think
all
about
of
2?
them.
What did you
Well,
think about
I just
2?
put obedience to God. Good people obtain favor from the Lord. That requires obedience to God.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just what, in my head, I was like, oh, look at that.
Yeah.
But what did you get out of 3? I wrote a lot on 3.
Oh, you did?
All of this right here.
Oh. Well, no one is established by wickedness, but the root of righteousness will never be moved. Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, what did you get?
I put, oftentimes people try to lie, cheat, steal, and I wrote politicians, to get ahead. And that may work in our human world, but it doesn't, but God has the final say, which essentially is what this says, right? If your righteousness, it says, in my version, it says, there's a mosquito, but the righteous can't be uprooted. If your righteousness comes from God, then you won't ever be tempted to I want that tree over there and take that tree from the neighbor. You know what I mean? So that says it a lot in here, I think, because I wrote somewhere else, the good part about being self-righteous, in 21, I put doing the right thing pays off. in the end, the wicked you always have to be like, I hope nobody saw me. I hope nobody catches that. You know, and you have to live in this lie.
Yeah.
But if you're rooted in Jesus, then you're rooted in the truth.
Oh,
right?
Yes. And it's like, and it's a firm foundation that like won't fall no matter what we go through.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I love that so much. That will never be moved. And it's like, what's our foundation? Because if it's on things of this earth, then we're always going to be moved.
Right. Because they're fleeting.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's why, you know, you can, like the other day, I was kind of having a bad day. And actually, it's in here. And I was like, oh, that's kind of what I'm going through now. Towards the end. But I was kind of having a bad day. And I was like, if I could just like have retail therapy, that would make me feel better. And I'm like, no, it won't. It might make me feel better for like 10 minutes or 20 minutes. But like buying a pocketbook, which I'm not a big pocketbook person anymore, but buying a pocketbook would be like, that's so good, but that'll wear, right? And then I was driving when thinking about this, and I was like, no, my like focus and comfort doesn't come from like retail therapy. It comes from God, you know? Yeah. And so I didn't do any retail therapy. But
that's amazing.
I cried instead.
Because I sometimes do, to be honest. Like one of my
everybody does. That's what it's called, retail therapy, for a reason.
One of my, according to my baby book, my first word was mall, and I've always loved the mall. And but it's not as fun anymore. Like you get tired. I go with my sister a lot, and I have to go into teenager stores. No offense.
Yeah.
No, and
yeah.
And then you feel guilty. Or I feel guilty if I spend lots of money on something, because in reality, do I really need it?
Right. Yeah, it's funny you say that, because
this is a rabbit hole.
Yeah, we go down them, but I had to go to court today, and I'm sitting at a light in downtown Springfield, and right here was a man like curled up in a blanket, you know, and I was like, do I have anything I can give him, like even a bottle of water? And I started being like, I need to do so much better. But like you said, like anything in my car I would have given him if I had something to give him. I had dollies, which wasn't going to help him.
And we will put those things together. We always talk about putting things together for people in need, and we will this fall sometime.
Yeah, we definitely need to, because we do. I have those stickers that say Jesus loves me, and I just need to get them on water bottles. And I think I did have water bottles, but they were in the trunk, and I should have just like pulled over. You know, I just should have done it. But the whole time I was thinking, like, nothing in this car is worth enough where he can't have that, you know. But I just wasn't within our reach. So anyway, sorry.
Oh no, that's amazing. No,
I just feel so bad. You know, there's like people in like, you know, $100,000 cars, $90,000 cars, driving by this man who's got a bicycle, and he had a nice pillow, and he had a comforter and a suitcase and a bike. You know, and all I kept thinking was, his whole life is right here in this corner. His whole life, all of his belongings, everything he owns. And here I am thinking like, oh, I don't have an air fryer. You know, like, that's so sad.
It gives us like perspective.
For sure.
Now verse 4, I was stuck on. I was stuck on it a bit because it's a little harsh, the second part. An excellent wife is the crown of her husband. But she who brings shame is like rottenness in his bones. And I looked up, this is good. So the excellent wife, that adjective in Hebrew is chayel. And that is the same word that Boaz uses to describe Ruth.
Oh my God, I love it.
In Ruth 3:11. So when he says, a worthy woman of extraordinary loyalty and goodness, like, so wow, that's amazing. But then the shame part had me a little bit stuck. Yeah. What about you?
I put the true backbone of the family. A wife can make or break a whole family.
Ooh,
But this could also, because Abby sent me a link to like a little, like a quick sermon that a man did on this.
Yeah.
And this could also be a man, because a husband of noble character is a wife's crown, because that's what a man is supposed to be, the head of the house. Yeah. And so this just says, like, the woman is actually the backbone of the family, even though the man is the. That's what I got out of it. But.
And then he said in that video, like, some people think that Solomon was writing Proverbs to his son.
Right. Yes, he did.
He would say, like, a wife, because he's talking to his son. Yeah, he's talking to his son. Right. But I thought, like, I thought way too much about this one verse, but I was even thinking a crown, right, goes up. Like, we're a crown on our husband's head, closer to God.
Yeah,
leading them closer to God. But I thought exactly what you're saying, that we affect each other. Right. Like, husbands affect wives, wives affect husbands, and the kids.
Yeah.
We all, like, affect each other. So we can rot a whole family but the key is, like, godliness.
Right.
Don't you think?
Right. Yeah, that's why it's so important to, Bobby, to wait on God to choose your spouse.
Yes.
And that's why it's so important to have a godly spouse. Yes. Because earthly people that don't have Jesus as the center of their heart will go after, like, oh, well, my wife and I, or my husband and I, haven't been getting along for like 2 weeks, so I'm now gonna flirt with this other lady or this other man because I'm not getting what I want. But a man or a wife that has Jesus at the center of their heart has different values, and that's why it's so important to have a spouse who loves Jesus.
Yeah, that's so true, because it can decay and rot. It's just the shame word, to be honest, that had me a little bit stuck, and I did. So,
I don't have shame in my verse.
Oh, what's
it
word?
Says, but a disgraceful wife is like decay in his bones.
Yeah.
And the video you sent me, I loved how he said it's decay from the inside out.
Yes.
Because it does. It starts from the inside, and that's how sin starts. It starts from the inside in very small increments and works its way out.
Oh, that's so true. I skipped all the way down to 11. Do you have anything before?
Nope, that's
11?
fine. I had to, like, in 8, I have little things, like little notes I wrote down, but I didn't know what prudence meant, so. But we'll go right down. So I loved how in 9, it says, better to be a nobody and yet have a servant than pretend to be a somebody and have no food. And that, to me, said upside down kingdom.
Yeah. Oh.
But that was all I had from that.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, what did you have for 11?
11 is, whoever works his land will have plenty of bread, but he who follows worthless pursuits lacks sense. Like, that's all of us at times, like, following worthless pursuits. Like me scrolling through, although I do follow a lot of people on Instagram. Right. But still, a lot of it is worthless. Yeah. Like, we have to think about, like, how we're spending our day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm talking to myself.
Yeah. Well, and I took that more literal. I
you did?
Because I put those who work for the Lord will have abundance. And then I put rejoice in the Lord always, Philippians 4:4. Because this, to me, says, like, if you work for the Lord, you will have abundance. That's essentially what that says. And I don't do that. Like, I stomp my feet, and I don't want to go to my job. I want to, like, there's, like, desires in my heart that I want to do something other than, and I just have to wait for God's timing.
Yeah.
And then,
but you do, like we talk about,
right?
You do share the gospel at your job, which is amazing. And maybe God has put that dislike of your job on your heart for a reason.
Well, yeah, before I had Alex, it's all I wanted to do. Yeah. Right? I was like, I want to do this, I want to do this, and then I had Alex, and then I decided to change the direction of my life towards Jesus, which has changed so many desires of mine. He's been sanctifying me for sure. But I loved in the second half of that 11.
Okay.
But those who chase fantasies have no sense,
Oh.
which means you get no gain out of chasing fantasies. Fantasies are not reality. Praying for wisdom in God's plan, trusting God's timing.
That's such a big thing with like Instagram and social media, because it portrays fantasies.
Right.
Even just celebrities. It's like this fantasy world.
Yeah.
But that takes away from real life. You know, if we're consumed by that.
Right. Well, and I mean, we can get down a rabbit hole for this too, but that's like porn. You know, people are addicted to porn, and that's a fantasy. It's not real life. They're paid actors.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, don't get me started on that. We should do a video on it. In grad school, we watched like an informational video about like the adult industry, and like there were some statistics that like at least 95% of people in that industry have been abused, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like it's like taking advantage of abused people, among many other things. But like I could have, if I had to write a thesis, I could have done it against that industry.
Yeah.
But
well, you know, it's just modern day.
Yeah.
Like prostitution.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
I feel really weird about it. So,
Yeah.
But you know.
Yes. But none of us are perfect. We have no judgment. But it's just 15. The way of a fool is right in his own. I love this so much. I love this verse so much. The way of a fool is bright in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to advice. Mm-hmm. Like so many people think that they're right.
Right. Self-righteousness. I wrote that next to it. Next to it, self-righteousness.
Oh. And in their mind, they can believe that all day. Yeah. But that's not what life is about, being right.
Yeah. No, it's not. And that's what Jesus came to do, right?
Yeah.
Is to say, like, whoever is least is most, you know, and it doesn't matter if you, like, we've talked about this.
Yeah.
If Abby's shirt is black or blue.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's clearly black. No, just kidding. Just kidding. But it's
yes, it's definitely black.
Like Solomon could have addressed that, like to the Pharisees in the future.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like they might think that they're right, but if their hearts were open to listen to Jesus, then that would have been really good for them.
Yeah. Yes, it would have been. But that's how we all were. You know, like in 2010. Mary Stice sat me down and said, "Who is Jesus to you?" And it literally took me an additional 10 years to decide to follow Jesus.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh. But that whole time you were growing and
making mistakes.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. What's the next one?
Oh, 16. Okay. I loved it. The vexation, like that's not a word you hear very much.
No.
The vexation of a fool is known at once, but the prudent ignores an insult. Yeah. And so quick to anger, like
it's so funny you wrote that. Yeah. And I wrote patient kindness, calmness, self-control. We were totally on the same path as that. Good job.
Yeah. And it just comes out of our mouths sometimes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But prudent, because I didn't know what it meant either. Isn't that what you said before, or did you say a different word?
Oh, I don't. What did I say? Yeah, I did. It was an 8 too. So acting and showing care for the future. I wrote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And which is wisdom. That's what I put. I put wise, knowing God.
Yeah.
So if you can ignore an insult.
Right.
Like what a big thing for everyone I do therapy with. I'm a therapist. Like ignoring an insult. Because it's really hard to do, and it can ruin it ruins people. Do you know what I mean? Like, but we can ignore. We don't have to respond right away.
Well, sometimes, like I know, I have a tendency to take an insult and make it my identity.
Yeah.
And that's where people go wrong. Yeah. Sorry, Alex and Rihanna overhearing Abby's husband to the rescue. I can see her in the door.
Oh, but that just, I don't know, there's so much goodness in here. Like 17, whoever speaks the truth gives honest evidence, but false witness utters deceit.
Yeah.
Like, we need to speak the truth. It's hard.
Yeah.
And especially when, depending on who we're around, but we need to be ourselves.
Yeah. It's funny. I didn't write anything about that, but when I was in court today, I had to raise my right hand and swear on the Bible. And I paused before saying yes, because there were so many thoughts going through my head, like, our judicial system is still based on Christianity. And then I wanted to make sure, I was like, is anything I put down in my financial statements and anything right? Was everything right? And, you know, and so then the judge is looking at me like, hello. And I was like, oh, yeah, yes. But then I was, you know what I mean? It was just one of those things.
Yeah.
I just went and I was reading this seriously. And thinking, like, yeah, we're supposed to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. But not everybody does, and it's such...
No.
Yeah.
No, but God has the last say. I write that a few times in here. God has the last say.
Oh. Yes, he does.
And then somewhere in here, I think towards the end, it talks about, you know, your heart's folly or whatever. So anyway, that ties in. So, but we'll make it there. I don't want to go backtrack.
I have 18. There is one whose rash words are like there is one whose rash words are like sword thrusts. Yeah. But the tongue of the wise brings healing.
Yeah. It's kind of like 13. Evildoers are trapped by their sinful talk.
Yeah.
In James 3:6, it says, the tongue is a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole body, sets the course of something that I can't read. And then in James 3:7, it says, no human can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil full of poison.
Yeah. Oh.
And it's so true.
It is so true. And it is like sword thrusts.
Yeah.
It can be.
Yeah.
Like,
it
we've
can
all
definitely
had those
cut
words.
you down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's such wisdom.
Right.
And just a kind thing can bring healing.
Yeah. That's why there's therapists. Because therapists are kind.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But it can bring healing, just like listening to somebody.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Oh.
It's thundering and lightning. It's humid, so we probably look wet, but it's beautiful.
Oh.
What's the next one?
Well, I had 20, unless you have anything for 19.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Because it kind of was the same thing.
What is your 20?
The second half, so deceit is in the hearts of those who plot evil, but those who promote peace have joy. And that's, I think, one of my favorite lines in this entire proverb. I love that.
Yes.
And then I put, they don't get caught up in drama. Easier living, peaceful and simple.
Oh.
I love that. Yeah.
I love that so much. And I had that, but that should be the title of this video.
Oh,
the plan peace and other wisdom.
Oh, I
like,
love that.
because we can plan peace, we can make that choice, you know?
Yeah.
Because sometimes in our heads we think about, oh, this is what I'm going to say to this person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're not planning peace.
No.
Yeah.
No. And it goes back to saying, like, you don't have to be right. What does it matter? You know, you don't have to be above anybody. That Jesus came to say not to be above anybody. And that is promoting peace. Just let it go. Shut your mouth, right? Like that's the growing theme throughout Proverbs, right? Is shut your mouth.
That's so true. Oh. I need to take that in.
Yeah, well, me too.
23. Do you have anything before 23?
I have 21.
Yes.
A little bit. No harm overtakes the righteous, but the wicked have their fill of trouble. And that's when I put doing the right thing pays off in the end. The wicked always have to look back and maintain their lies. That's the only part that I have written really for that.
Yeah.
But 23 is good. What did you have for 23?
Well, it's a prudent man conceals knowledge, but the heart of fools proclaims folly. Well, like, what's in our hearts,
right?
You know?
Yeah, I have a lot. I have the prudent keep their knowledge to themselves, which is gossiping and telling secrets. So you don't gossip or you don't tell the secrets. You keep all of that to yourself. And then, but a fool's heart blurts out folly, the lack of good sense. What is in the heart will eventually be revealed is what came to me when I was thinking of that, which is how I got to Proverbs 27:19. As water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart.
Yes, you love that.
I love that verse. But I don't know, I just like, I love doing it this way. Like I print out the whole verb or the whole proverb on paper and I just go through and write out the notes and you get so much out of it, I think.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, at least I do.
Yeah, I mean, it's like my there's this saying, like, if you have money, you don't need to talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know. Oh, I don't know.
Oh, do we want the light on?
Sorry, I didn't know what. Oh, wow, that changed the lighting of it.
Her husband is so good.
But it's like, we don't need, that's why, like, I struggled. There was a pastor who quizzes a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like, people like to kind of show off their knowledge.
Right.
And I don't like that. If you know it, it's about our hearts. It's not about what we know. It's not about our knowledge. Like, I think that the Pharisees probably would have loved to show off.
Oh, that's very nice.
Oh, yay. They would have loved to show off their knowledge. They did love to show off their knowledge.
Oh gosh, the Pharisees, they
I just wanted a kiss.
Okay.
Oh,
I love
that's
you.
so
I
sweet.
love you.
Oh, can I have a hug too, Alex?
Can Abby have a hug? Okay, you want to go around? Yeah?
Oh, that's so sweet.
Her new favorite song, and I was just at a Bible study on Sunday. There's a remake to the Jesus Loves Me, and it's so good. I can't remember what it's something like Jesus Loves Me, and I can't remember the name of the woman that sings it, but it's fantastic. And we have been listening to it on repeat for forever, for like the last 3 days.
You need help with the door?
Okay, I love
Oh, so sweet. And she's so strong. Oh, I'll do it.
Okay, all right, last one. We're almost done. I think we only have like a couple more Proverbs. Hi.
Sorry.
Well, don't be sorry. Thank you for.
No problem. But do you know what I mean? Like, we don't need to show off about, especially Bible, like anything we don't need to show off about. Like, it's about humility and knowing that we don't know it all.
Yeah, and our willingness to learn.
Yes.
Right? I struggle for a little while. I was like, I want to get into theology.
Yeah.
And then I started getting into it, and it just felt so fake and so man-made, and I just wanted the Bible instead. You know, and because it is like you listening to these, and not all theologians are bad or whatever, but I just kept thinking like, all of these words are man-made, you know, like, and so I just decided I needed the Bible and not theology.
Yeah.
Right?
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, my last one, which I loved. Anxiety in a man's heart weighs him down, but a good word makes him glad.
Yeah.
Like, how many people are weighed down from anxiety?
Right.
Like,
yeah, I mean, It is. It's so easy to not be able to see past the mountain.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
But Abby sent me a sermon from Vox.
Yes.
And he talks so much about like the magic carpet, but not the magic carpet. He was using it as
about going above,
right?
but not just looking at like our circumstances,
right?
But looking at the big picture, which is Jesus died for us, right?
And that reduces your anxiety because you get anxiety when you can't see past the mountain in front of you, and then you're like stuck there. But having trust in God and having faith and trying to like and praying to see above it and see His path and His ways, then you won't have so much anxiety.
Yeah, because we'll be focused on Him, which is what really matters anyways, not on our circumstances.
Right. Yeah. And I struggle with that. So,
yeah, I do too.
I was telling Abby in court today, I just kept going, I've got the joy, 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 joy. This over and over again. Like, my joy is in Jesus. My joy is not in this.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, so I had 26.
Okay.
The righteous choose their friends carefully, but the way of the wicked leads them astray.
Oh.
And I am going through that kind of now, where my friendships that are not centered around Jesus are kind of seeming to like I still have friends that are not saved friends, but my very closest friends that are not saved seem to be like going away. And it's been painful. This whole week this last few days have been especially painful. However, God is sanctifying me. And that's what I keep begging Him to do. Even though I know it's going to stink, I keep saying, I need to be more like you. But you get caught in that, like, well, we're not just supposed to have godly friends, but our closest friends should be righteous. Right? And so God is, as painful as it was to lose essentially 2 friends, it's God is good. God is sovereign. God is so good in that. And there's a purpose.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and it says it here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the 4, that the Proverbs 12:4. But she who brings shame is like rottenness in his bones.
Right.
Like
so
our
true.
people in our lives, like decaying us.
Yeah.
And like not good for us, like taking us away from God. Right? Which they're not doing because we're making that choice.
Right.
But we're affected by who we're around.
It's so true. It's so true. 100%. And I know you see it.
Yeah.
Especially with one of my friends, like I knew I was going because I was getting involved in a little bit of their lifestyle, and it was just bringing me down and not where I wanted to go. It was like a fighting, and that's not necessarily Satan, but Satan's dangling, and I'm like, I want to be, over here, but no, I ultimately want to be over here. Which is why when I read this, I was like, yes, God is so good over this. God is so gracious to me. Yes. Even if it's painful, He knows what's best, right? Yeah. He does.
Yes.
And He just proves we can trust Him.
Yeah.
Even in the pain.
Yeah. And we just have to be careful who we let into our hearts.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And,
there's so much hope in that. And it really did. It really gave me so much hope, even though I had been experiencing some, like, just sadness over, like, I call it the breakup, but, I mean, there was nothing to break up. It was a friendship, which I suppose could be a breakup.
Yeah,
I mean, a long, like, 10-year friendship, essentially, and it was sad, and it's sad, it's still sad, but
what about it gave you hope? What about
this verse? Just knowing God is sovereign.
Yeah.
Knowing God has a plan. There is a purpose. There is a purpose. And even in court today, like I said, there is a purpose. There is a purpose. My joy needs to be found in Jesus. My joy cannot be found in my circumstances. And this verse right here was like, yes, 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 God is so good.
Yes. And sometimes we go through those afflictions. I can't remember what I was reading that it said affliction over and over again in the Bible, but we go through them because we depend on God
Right.
a lot during those times. It's like we have to in the good times too.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
like when there was the uncertainty with my house, you know?
Yes.
Like that's what I was trying to do was like,
Right.
I mean, and I was not perfect at it at all.
No, well,
But
none of
it's
us are.
like, and you still get that dread
Mhm.
sometimes when we feel like unsafe, like
Right.
the unknown,
Yeah. Right.
because it is a change, like this friendship ending.
Right.
It is unknown, kind
Yeah.
of.
Right.
Yeah. But
Oh.
God knows everything.
Yes. And it does. That gives you so much hope. At
Yes.
least for me, it gave me so much hope and so much peace. And then that started making me think of the fruit of the Spirit. There's another,
Oh.
verse in here, too, that said something about the fruit. Oh, from the fruit of their lips, people are filled with good things.
Yes.
And so I had written, that's 14. Isn't yielding fruit what we all want? If our
Yeah.
roots are in Jesus, our fruit will be plentiful. And
Oh,
then this
wow.
again had me starting to think about fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah.
And that's what we ultimately want, is to bear fruit. And so then I had to write down fruit of the Spirit, and then I had to make like this whole design and send it to Abby. But
No,
there's
that's great.
there's just so much that I can't explain getting on the path that God wants you to be on, how that gives you peace.
Yeah. I was going to say something about a path too. But,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's all about, is get on the path, because there's a path that leads to destruction.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to be on that path. It's tempting. But like the path to God, like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's not always easy.
No. And Jesus says it's not going to be.
Yeah.
But
it's such a blessing.
yeah.
Like,
Well, we hope this gave you hope. 'Cause
Yes.
It certainly gave me hope.
yeah, it gave me hope too.
Yeah.
Lots of hope.
And assurance that we are doing the right thing by staying on what Abby calls the Proverb path.
Yeah. I try. My kids would be like, "Are you really on that path?" Just kidding.
Yeah, what did you say today? Oh, we were talking about, Abby and I are co-leading a Bible study, and we were talking about like things that we're gonna do or which responsibilities we're diving,
Yeah.
whatever. And what did you say? We're so low maintenance. And Chris from the other room was like, "Yeah, right."
It's my husband.
It was so funny.
I know. Not when you see a spider. When
Yeah.
I see a spider, I'm
Exactly.
like, Chris, you have to deal with this. Although I've gotten better. Sometimes I kill my own bugs.
Oh, well, there you go.
So
There you
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for watching this
Yes.
and hanging out with us for over 40 minutes now.
Yes. And join us next week as we go through Proverbs 13.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye. You know what we